Ricky Carmichael says he's over the hump. The championship is near and the perfect season is within his sights. With only 4 rounds remaining, RC has put some riders on a mental vacation. The closest competition to Carmichael, Chad Reed and Kevin Windham, want to stop the streak. While the newest kid on the block, Mike Alessi, is looking for his first taste of the action. After 2 more titles at Loretta's, the 16-year-old is going straight to the 250 class to cut his teeth. And it's all next on ESPN2. To Millville, Minnesota. This is stop 9 of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. And hello once again, everyone. Todd Harris along with Cameron Steele and Jamie Little for the Scott USA Nationals at Spring Creek Motocross Park. Well, today, Ricky Carmichael continues the streak, and many are starting to wonder, will the streak ever come to a conclusion? Everyone trying to get a glimpse of this superstar as Carmichael continues his assault on the 250 title. As we take a look at the standings, there is Carmichael, 400 perfect points, Chad Reed, 60 points down, and then Kevin Windham, Cameron.
Well, it's a testament to how good Chad and Kevin have been riding. They've been consistent and staying up there in the mix, not letting Ricky completely run away with the points, even though he's totally running away with the season.
You know, there's only 4 races, and they fly by, you know, especially when we have in a row. We've got 2 races in a row now, and the main picture is the championship. But the perfect season's in the back of my mind, but, you know, if I don't do it, I can say I've done it before. So I'm going to try to keep it going, definitely, but the first thing on my mind is trying to win another title.
And Cameron, look at this graphic. Complete domination in 2004 by Ricky Carmichael.
Well, big props to Rusty Holland for leading a lap in there as well with Reed and Windham. But talk about laps led. This kid, Mike Alessi, has said he would like to lead a lap. He thinks he can get a whole shot here, and he has the skills to be a part of this racing community.
Well, they're saying believe the hype, and Cameron, he's got enough titles with Loretta Lynn's to make you take notice.
He has 11. Max is out of James right there on the 60. His brother on the outside will be coming up in a few years. But Mike Alessi, a lot of talk, a lot of smack talk. This is the qualifiers here. He did lead into the first corner. I think he's got a few of the big-name riders a little riled up, maybe rallying against him.
Well, Mike Alessi certainly is of interest this week, and Jamie Little caught up with him.
Well, the time has finally come, and Mike Alessi is making his professional debut here at Millville. Now, it's kind of difficult to compare him to other professional riders' debuts, being that he's skipping the 125 class and going right into the 250 class. At 130 pounds, he'll be riding the CRF 450. Pretty amazing stuff. So whether you believe the hype or you shun the hype, Mike Alessi's here, and he wants to make a statement this weekend. How's everything going so far?
Everything's going great. You know, just looking forward to today and racing, and, you know, hopefully get the whole shot and lead a lap and, you know, finish out top 5 on the podium. Hopefully get the podium, but realistically probably top 5.
We will see how the young man does as we take a look at our track facts here at Millville.
Well, Alessi's been living out here, and there's a whole lot of new corners and new areas. They've brought in some different materials, a little bit of clay in the face of the jumps, but it's going to be sandy, and the whoops are going to be gnarly, longer lap times than years before.
Well, an absolute picture-perfect day here in Millville. Temperature 71 degrees, the wind south-southwest at 14, and the forecast more of the same. As Sebastien Tortelli gets set, we take a look at the Honda starting grid. Ricky Carmichael at the top. Notice in the 10th position, number 800, Mike Alessi. Now, he'll be 4th from the right at the doghouse camera, but he has got a lot of talent out there that he's going to be competing against.
He does, and he's been talking the talk. They got the shirts with the hype. He has the weight advantage on the start. I mean, we heard that he's a lightweight guy. He's riding the big bike. Can he get to the first corner first? And then what happens? What happens when the guys, seasoned pros, get in their bow? Remember, 4th from the right. That means that doghouse right in the center to our right. And it looks like he's got a pretty good jump out of the gate.
So the Alessi era begins, and will Carmichael's streak continue? It's Chad Reed that'll lead them into the first corner. Carmichael's in the fray as well.
And Chad Reed needs a great start. He's not been able to beat Ricky Carmichael all season, and he seems to be the only guy that's really got a shot at doing it. Yes, Tortelli's in there, and so is Kevin Windham. but it's been Chad consistently right up there. We'll see if he can hold the lead for a while, and you see Mike Alessi
trying to get
it back.
Yeah, he's way in the back, and Michael Byrne holding him off. Your leader, though, number 22, Chad Reed, on board the Yamaha, doing a great job, Reed, and this is going to do wonders for his confidence. Looks like Craig Anderson.
His cousin right behind him. He can be the blocker for him for a little bit.
Here's the section where I think Alessi's going to have his problems. He's now competing against 39 other men. He's not competing against 13, 14, 15-year-olds. These are grown men who know how to battle. Look at Alessi going to the outside, trying to stay with the traffic as he goes around Joe Aylock.
Well, it's kind of an interesting situation with Alessi. You know, I've seen him over the years a little bit. Great rider, Southern California guy. He's got the skills, but I think with the amount of talk that's been going on, he's got a few of the guys revved up. And what I think is cool about it is he's got the whole motocross community revved up. Whether you love him, hate him, agree or disagree, he's got you talking about him, and that's the important part. I mean, it's PR, it's press, and Ricky Carmichael tucking that uphill triple.
Wow, Carmichael makes the pass by virtue of that huge jump as he goes up the hill and goes around number 12, David Vuillemin. So it's Carmichael moving up a position. Your leader continues to be Chad Reed, and we'll keep an eye on the Mike Alessi watch as he is back in the pack. 108 is Joaquin Rodriguez, and he is just ahead of number 4, Ricky Carmichael.
And Ricky's tended to be just the opposite of Mike Alessi. He's kind of a little bit quieter guy. Yes, he can be outspoken, but when he gets on the track, a little bit of a fumble there by Ricky. You see him get hung up in one of those ruts. Millville is known for its tricky sections. There is some soft sand outside of some of these corners, and it is going to be a little bit of technical, both inside and outside. Ricky to the inside.
Wow. And Rodriguez had nowhere to go. Carmichael came into the inside, and Rodriguez got his front tire stuck. This is Sean Hamblin, number 36, tied up with Mike Alessi. So the FMF Honda rider, welcome to the show, Mr. Alessi.
Oh, so getting together with one of the seasoned pros there. It's going to be interesting to see what happened there, but Ricky Carmichael on the gas, diving into the inside, looking at him take the line. Joaquin maybe not even realizing he was right there at the time, and just grabbing the binders, trying not to get out of that line over the berm, and also trying not to completely come together with Carmichael. A good job keeping together, but he upends himself.
So Carmichael moves into second place. Craig Anderson now sits in 5th place after having a great start, sitting right behind his cousin, Chad Reed, who is your leader. Cameron, the ruts aren't so bad here, but it's the sand, and I think Rodriguez just grabbed a handful of binders, like you would say, and his tires just locked up in that sand. There was nothing to grab onto. He completely washed out.
Now on a sand track, they say don't use the front brake. This isn't all sand like something like a Southwick is. And you see right there the number 28, Heath Voss. He's originally from Minnesota, so he's pretty stoked to be out there in the mix. And Kyle Lewis, lucky, down. He's had nothing but bad luck this year.
Kyle Lewis keeps the bike running, so Lucky Lewis back on track. The 23 Honda has to go underneath the tape. Meanwhile, it's Chad Reed and Ricky Carmichael out in front going 1 and 2. Right now, let's sit at trackside and check in with Jamie Little.
Looking at number 36, Sean Hamblin right now. He came around lap 1, yelling about his shifter, trying to get a shifter lever back into position. Tough break for Hamblin. He's on the course right now.
Well, definitely a disappointment for Sean Hamblin. It looks like he's going nowhere fast, Cameron. Hamblin, all kinds of talent, but has not found the lines this year. Meanwhile, the battle up front is heating up. Ricky Carmichael now right on the back tire of Chad Reed, and this is going to be a battle for the ages. Carmichael to the inside.
And triples it from the inside. You see Chad Reed also jumping, but Chad
Look at that.
back to the inside, not letting Ricky Carmichael just get right on by. And Ricky holding the throttle there in that rough section. Unbelievable bike control, and you know, wait a minute.
This is what we've been waiting for all year long. Chad Reed takes it and give it. So Carmichael in there, I think the difference this year is they respect each other so much more. They're battling cleanly out there. They're not talking off the track, they're battling on the track. Carmichael in second, Chad Reed in first.
Those were some great moves by both riders, and Chad, the KG Supercross rider, using some great line selection to block or get back in front of Carmichael, and Chad has the speed to see if he can hold it all the way through the moto.
The battle will continue at Millville. Chad Reed is your leader, Carmichael in second, David Vuillemin in third. We'll be back after this short break. We are back at Millville, Minnesota. This is the 9th of 12 events on the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship Tour. Todd Harris along with Cameron Steele, and Ricky Carmichael is coming back for some more.
Oh, did you see that? Carmichael just bouncing so far into the whoop. He's taking an extra whoop where maybe Chad's going over 3, jumping over 3. Ricky's jumping over 4, and that was the difference right there. That whoop section, again, you see Ricky just pouncing over those sections.
Very similar to what we saw James Stewart do in the 125 class. He just launches into that whoop section and exit rather quickly. Now Carmichael's starting to put a little distance on second place from Chad Reed.
Well, we saw some great speed from Chad Reed up here in some of these technical corners. So what I'm looking for here is, can Chad put a little bit more time back into Ricky here? Not let him get away where it gets tight here where he's comfortable. Can he catch back up?
This is the battle for 5th place. Back in the pack, there's 103, Sebastien Tortelli on the Suzuki.
And you saw him jump through the whoop. Huge gain right there as he moves up. And that uphill triple, that's a beautiful jump watching those guys do that. And it looks like Ricky's able to stretch it in that one section.
Sebastien Tortelli now secures 5th place, goes to a tear-off, and the rest of the crowd try to close in. Also on the right-hand side of your screen, that's 24, Ernesto Fonseca. On the outside of him is 28, Heath Voss, and here's Mike Alessi, currently sitting in 26th place. So Cameron, if you're his coach or his mechanic, what are you telling him right now? What is he doing wrong?
Well, I mean, he got in a crash, so that was the problem. Not sure what happened with him on the start. You just got to have him keep going for it because guys are going to get tired, and we'll see what kind of training he has. He's been working here at Millville for a couple months. I mean, he really should have the track dialed in.
Nick Way, part of the Michigan Mafia right now, number 27 on board the Suzuki, sitting in 4th place. This could be a breakout weekend for Nick Way, and his contracts continue to fall into place. Will Nick Way be riding yellow next year?
That's a big question. As of right now, they're saying he won't be on the factory Suzuki team. That's what, you know, the people on the inside are saying. We haven't had any official word, and Ernesto Fonseca, you see there on the 24 bike, rumors have him now, instead of going to Suzuki, staying at Honda.
As they continue to pan out, the stories continue to gel, and I think we won't know anything definitively until we get to Anaheim on January 8th for the first stop of the Supercross Tour. Meanwhile, Kevin Windham has found himself in 9th place. Cameron, this has not been his best year for motocross.
He's had some up and downs for sure. He's had some great podiums, and he's had some weird races where you just expect him to be right on the top of it. And we know Kevin has the bike skills, an unbelievable motorcycle rider. We saw him in the Supermoto event at X Games on the weekend off just last week, and he just really shining. He looks great, battled it out with a lot of great riders. I don't think he'd ever been on the street before he jumped on the Supermoto bike, and he really has the skill. So he's looking for some different lines here, battling with Michael Byrne, and you know, you would expect Windham would dispatch of him quickly.
Well, Michael Byrne is riding quite well on board the Kawasaki 26 as he comes into view, trying to hold off Kevin Windham. Kevin Windham knows with every second if Byrne holds him off, Ricky Carmichael and Chad Reed are distancing themselves.
And of course, I'm not dispatching any of the talent of Michael Byrne, a great rider. It's just that Kevin Windham was the guy that stopped Ricky Carmichael's perfect moto streak, which he's got going again right now this year.
Kevin Windham trying to go to the outside, and he dives back down to the inside. Just ahead of them is number 28, that's Heath Voss, last year's World Supercross GP champion, and Windham finally gets the pass on Michael Byrne. So he moves into 8th place with a lot of work yet to do. Meanwhile, Ricky and Chad are out in front having their own private battle.
And there's some fight here in Michael Byrne. He doesn't want to just give up the spot. It looks like Kevin grabbed an edge right there of the track a little bit, maybe giving Byrne a bit of a run there, but looks like he solidly got the position.
So as they make their way back down the hill, they're all grabbing on, and I gotta commend the people here. They've done a great job on this track, John Martin and company. They've kept it pretty much rut-free. The sand has been mixed in with some clay, and I think for the most part, the riders are pretty happy.
Yeah, definitely a couple different surfaces they're working with the hard pack on the hills, and then some loamy corners that aren't just ruts. They got like this fluff on the outside, and over the day we've seen some riders fall down and crash and hook it, maybe grab a little bit too much brake. And Kevin Windham looking to get up on Heath Voss here. Looks like he's looking at some different lines. He goes inside, look at Heath picking his leg up. He's like, I don't want to lose that thing.
Not a good time to plant the foot, so Windham goes to the inside, tries to slingshot around the out. Now he's using forward off, go back in. Who has the drive? And it's Windham. A perfect textbook pass on Heath Voss. So he moves into 7th, and now he'll go to work on number 24, Ernesto Fonseca, who sits in 6th.
You're right about that. That outside in move Windham just put down, that was just a thing of beauty. Goes out, sets it up on the brake, lets Voss come through on the inside, just drop on the throttle straight on by.
So Kevin Windham is the man on the move because he knows up front is where the battle is. Carmichael sits in first, Chad Reed sits in second, and Windham now sitting in 7th place. Meanwhile, Sebastien Tortelli just ahead of Windham is in 5th place, number 103 on the Suzuki. And here's a guy who's gone through injuries, some other problems. Now he's moving up on another Suzuki rider in Nick Way.
You see how he does some of those sections in 4 where Nick's doing 3s, and these guys are teammates right now. And you know, Nick may have been more of a shoo-in for a ride back at Suzuki had Sebastien not come back from the knee injuries and really just got right back into the fray and back on the podium. Look at him on the gas. He's going to go by on the outside going into that corner.
Wow. Sebastien Tortelli makes that look easy, and Nick Way is not a slouch out there. So Way will slide back to 5th. Sebastien Tortelli now in 4th place. So the two Suzuki's doing battle, but we remind you, up in front, it is Carmichael and Reed going 1 and 2 here in the 250 Moto number 1. Ernesto Fonseca holding on to 6th, but for how long? Because Kevin Windham has seemed to have found the power band. Uh-oh, more problems for number 800, Mike Alessi. Remember, he's the 16-year-old making his pro debut here. A much talked about debut. And Cameron, talk to me about the 4-stroke kickover.
Well, that's the one thing about riding a 4-stroke. When it's hot, it's a little bit tougher to start. Look at that, Kevin Windham right to the inside of Ernesto Fonseca. Very clean move. He took him on the inside, and Fonseca, you know, held the line. He didn't try to get back inside and take a look back. Alessi looks like the whoop section, or the whoop monster as it might have been. Actually, he looks like he just started to lose the wheel. And those kind of crashes hurt. You know, you're set up, your body's working like suspension up and down. All of a sudden, you're cross-riding. He gets the 4-stroke started. You see how he doesn't have his hand on the throttle when he's starting, because your body and mind tell you, you know, turn the throttle a little bit when you're trying to start it. He's got it off to the side, so you don't give it any gas whatsoever. Right now, it's all Ricky Carmichael. Can Chad Reed or David Vuillemin catch up to Ricky?
Is Flonase.
Hi, I'm Ricky Johnson, riding coach for Team Suzuki, and this is your Suzuki Riding Tip of the Week. Here at Millville, Minnesota, it's known for sand and bumps. Here we're watching Brock Kepler go through the whoops. You can't just do it in one fashion. You have to hang off the back, blitz, you have to do wheel tap, and also time this whoop section. So you have to do the best of all 3. And on top of that, you get ready for a sharp right-hand corner at the end. Now let's take a look at that at speed. And that's your Suzuki Riding Tip of the Week.
And as always, our thanks to Rick Johnson for the Suzuki Riding Tip of the Week. We are back at Millville, Minnesota. This is Moto 1 of the 250 class. Your leader, number 4, Ricky Carmichael, on board the Honda, with Chad Reed starting to distance himself now. Ricky and Chad had a great battle there at Cameron during the middle part of this. Now Ricky's starting to air it out.
It's just phenomenal how fast he is. And there's Kevin Windham, and something we want to definitely point out is he's riding with a sore left knee. He actually has it all taped up, so that could be a contributing factor to where he might have started. Now maybe adrenaline taking over and moving him towards the front. We know he has the speed to run the very front, diving to the inside of Nick Way, and as they power through these whoops, it looks like Kevin's going to make that move really stick.
So Kevin Windham continues to move up. We started watching him a few moments ago. He was in 9th. He's moved his way all the way to 5th place. Nick Way currently sitting in 6th place, trying to stay in contact with the leaders and stay in the top 5 to keep himself in a podium contention position. But we are back at Millville, and as Rick Johnson pointed out, showing Brock Kepler going to the whoops. It has already claimed one victor today, and that in Mike Alessi going down. But back to your leader, this is Ricky Carmichael.
And the jump you just saw him clear is called the Holy Schmidt for Donnie Schmidt, who is a legend here, a former world motocross champion. Ricky takes the white flag there, a tribute to Donnie and all-around hero in motocross.
Carmichael cutting that corner rather closely there, chasing the mechanics back. We are on the last lap with the white flag out. Carmichael's your leader.
And what's interesting to note about what you're talking about, the mechanics there, they had to put a flagpole in there because Ricky was jumping up and over the mechanics in practice and basically cutting the corner, flying over the mechanics' head. Nope, we got to put something in there because they have to put a marker for him to go around. You have to stay on the course. You can't just jump over a corner.
Does that surprise you that Ricky Carmichael, that's like James Stewart and Ricky would come up with something like that, and there he is, the guy on the right-hand side of your screen. No, folks, that's not Rambo the Hunter. That is the Whoop Monster.
The legend of Millville. The Whoops are the monster themselves, but the Whoop monster just portraying an image there and always having fun making a bunch of noise. And we've seen some guys that really have been tearing the Whoops apart today, including Ricky Carmichael.
And I got to say, Chad Reed, we've watched his progression go in the motocross, and a lot of times he said, oh, I'm not really a motocross guy, I'm a supercross guy, but he's really shown something today. He hung with Carmichael for several laps, had a great battle. I know he doesn't like taking second place, because that's just how Chad is, but his riding today has been awesome.
And you know what? Through the times of him not winning these outdoor motocross races, he's kept, you know, a good attitude. He's a really positive guy, and he knows that he's got to work at it, but he's not afraid to say it, which I think is a true testament to the champion that he is. He knows he needs to step it up a notch, and he is getting closer and closer all the time.
No question about that. Chad Reed's riding has been great. David Vuillemin having a great run today, currently sitting in third place for Team Yamaha. Number 12, Vuillemin. You know, the rumors about David Vuillemin, where is he going to be in the coming years and all that. I think David Vuillemin just needs to focus on riding his race and doing what he knows how to do best.
Oh, he's definitely a great rider, and he'll be back at the Yamaha camp next year. And looking for big things from Vuillemin. Hopefully able to put some wins together in the near future.
Coming through is Ricky Carmichael, number 4 on board the Honda, sponsored by Fox Oakley Honda. Doing it up and doing it right, and he today dressed in that black and white of Fox. He almost looks like the Grim Reaper, and he's absolutely spelled depth for everyone else today. Look at that.
Oh, unbelievable. That's 105 feet to that landing, so if you're wondering how big that is.
That'll get you to say, holy Schmidt, when he comes through there. So Carmichael brings it through. He picks up the victory. Moto number 1, Ricky Carmichael, is your winner.
A little nose wheelie there. That's a lapper, Jeff Gibson, coming through behind him, so still waiting for second place to come through. Unbelievable ride, and Nick Way still battling it out with Ernesto Fonseca for 6th place.
Oh, we got riders going down on the inside. As we were watching the battle for 6, Nick Way and Ernesto Fonseca getting after it, and a rider to the inside grabs a full front wheel of hay bale. But look at this. Way comes around.
Oh, whoa, was that a little bit of a brake check there by Nick Way, a technique used when you got another rider chasing you, and he's right behind you in the same line. You grab a little bit of brake, and it just throws him off their momentum. I'm not claiming he did it for sure. I'm saying it could have been.
You would never do that, Cameron. I know that's for sure.
Well, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus.
Absolutely not. So Fonseca and Way continue to battle for that position. This is the battle for 6, and look at this. As they come to the finish line, it's Nick Way holding off Ernesto Fonseca. They both finish in the top 10, and as we pan to the left, we can see number 800, that is Mike Alessi coming into view. He will finish outside the top 20, so no points for him. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner, Ricky Carmichael and company.
We can help.
And welcome back to Millville, Minnesota, the Scott USA Nationals at Spring Creek MX Park. Let's check in with Jamie.
Mike Alessi coming off his debut and first ever professional race. How was it out there?
Man, I was nervous the whole time. Fell 3 times. I got together with Hamblin back there. If I hadn't got together with Hamblin, I think I could have finished where I wanted to, but just a bad start. Someone hit me coming down the start, and I got pushed outside, and I was like 25th. And me and Hamblin were coming up to the pack, and we tangled in the corner back there. And you know, stuff happens, and then I crashed in the back in a turn, and then going down the whoops, I just got a little sideways.
As we quickly take a look at our Suzuki final results, it's Carmichael with the win, followed by Reed and Vuillemin in 3rd, Sebastien Tortelli with a great run in 4th, and Kevin Windham moves all the way up to 5th place.
Ricky Carmichael, I gotta ask you, when Chad gets out in front of you like that, do you ever get nervous? Do you ever panic a little bit?
Not really a panic, but it's good because, you know, it gives me something to work for, and I'm able to, you know, put in some good laps, because sometimes it's, you know, it's fun definitely getting the whole shot, but it's fun to work too.
Well, look at the fastest lap times. Carmichael 2:21, Reed at 2:23, and then it starts to drop off just a little bit, but Carmichael's 2:21. That is phenomenal. Right now, let's send it back down to Jamie, who's with Chad.
Chad, you're turning unbelievable lap times. In practice, you got a great start today. How'd it go from there?
It's going good. You know, we got some new pieces for the bike, and it's working better, and, you know, there's a few little things I want to change in between motos, but having fun out there. I really enjoy this track, the whoops, and the rest of the dirt is a lot of fun, and all the guys at Putz and Limit and Thor are doing a great job, so looking forward to taking Moto.
Getting some great starts, that's the way to do it.
That's it, you know, Alessi was claiming the whole shot, so I had to go out there and get it.
So Chad Reed throwing down. Hey, folks, we want to remind you that nobody does more to protect your right to ride than the American Motorcyclists Association. Every racer on the track is an AMA member. How about you? Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. The AMA, right, riding, and racing. Well, this week we had a chance to catch up with the Cobra, David Vuillemin.
Running fast, and next year is going to be a tough season too, and I'm going to try to focus on it after nationals and go back to work and get fit for the season.
When we come back, the Cobra gets ready to strike in Moto 2 from Millville.
Dish.
We are back to Millville, Minnesota as we get set for Moto number 2 in the 250 class. Let's quickly check in with Jamie.
At 130 pounds, Mike Alessi is notorious for getting huge hole shots. But as we saw in Moto number 1, he got a couple brake checks and a couple elbows. This time he's lining up on the complete other side of the gate. He has empty gates on both sides of him. And guys, if he doesn't get on the gas right away, he'll get pinched off in a hurry.
Well, as you take a look at the Honda starting grid, there you see Carmichael on top. Now Alessi has dug himself a hole, Cameron.
He has it. Did you see the 40-yard stare Kyle Lewis was giving him behind there? He gets the 27th pick on the gate. Out of the 40 riders out there, there's a few riders not making the call at second moto. That's how he has the space around him. We'll see if it works out for him. But again, you got to look for guys like Carmichael, Reed, and Windham who are there for the hole shot time after time.
Well, to the first corner, and once again, it is Chad Reed with his cousin. What is up with the Australian connection? Chad Reed gets the hole shot with Craig Anderson in tow.
And you see Kevin Windham working right away, trying to get around. It actually cost him the spot there. It looked like Ricky Carmichael flew right by, but Chad Reed again in the position. We'll see if he fights it out even tougher here in the second moto because it is the deciding moto. Remember, it's two motos. You combine the scores for the overall victory on the day. That's what they're all shooting for, but as we know, Ricky Carmichael has yet to lose a moto, and you see him jumping through 4 at a time in some places. I don't think you see Reed or Windham in that section doing that.
So it is Reed in first. Carmichael sits in second. Craig Anderson starting to fade just a little bit. Kevin Windham comes on. Look at Carmichael on the gas with the inside, cuts across Chad's line and takes first.
How was the line change? Mid-whoop, you just like, all of a sudden, okay, I'm going right, going to go to the inside and take the line. Just unbelievable bike control. Oh! Was that a tear-off or was that a look-back throw the handoff? That was a
la Lance Armstrong looking back at Jan Ulrich. Chad Reed getting the stare from Ricky Carmichael. I think it was just Ricky checking to see where Chad was going.
Oh, look at this. And Chad trying to come to the inside. And smartly, Chad grabbing the binders, not wanting to come together. He could have probably forced the issue and drove the bike closer to Ricky. You see Ricky coming up a little short on the triple. Chad not even jumping it.
Well, they got together and watched Schugle, and afterwards Ricky talked to him, and I think Chad was like, yeah, okay, I'll let that one slide. But the look now, whether Ricky did it on purpose or was just checking Chad blind, that would be my guess. They almost get together. Chad gets right back in the fray, and folks, this is what everyone's been waiting for. The two best in the business in the 250 class going head-to-head.
Well, truly what, oh, and Ricky Carmichael coming just a little bit short on that obstacle right there. Remember, this is the last moto of the day. They had practice, they had day qualifiers, they have 125 racing, the first 250 moto. This is the very last thing that happens on the track. So this is the most beat down the track will look the whole weekend, and it's the roughest they've seen it. 105 feet to the landing, both Reed and Carmichael airing it out. Very few riders doing that jump.
Moto number 2 at Millville, Minnesota. Carmichael, your leader. Chad Reed sits in second place. We'll get a Mike Alessi sighting for you momentarily, but these two are checking out and having their own private little war.
It's cool watching Chad Reed because he is definitely staying close with Ricky as we get farther along. And I think, you know, he's trying to study the lines and see how Ricky does it, because Ricky traditionally has a really hanging out kind of attitude towards motocross, and Chad's been more of the technician of supercross. And I think, look at that, you see him seat balancing it like supercross off in. This was the pass we were talking about earlier. Ricky's in these whoops, they're deep, they're gnarly, he's going full tilt, and all of a sudden he just changes lanes, goes right across the back of Reedy and takes the line, and there's your boy.
Mike Alessi coming through the whoop section. This is a good battle for fifth. Right behind him, the seasoned veteran Ernesto Fonseca. We remind you, those of you just joining us, Mike Alessi making his pro debut here, a 16-year-old phenom, bypassing the 125 class and going right to the 250 class. So Ernesto Fonseca right now sits in sixth. And Ernesto has had a couple of fifths this year, so we'll see if Ernesto can track down the youngsters.
I believe his best overall finish was a fourth at Troy, and Mike Alessi has the speed. We talked about it. We talked about the talk as well. He's proving right now that he does have what it takes to run with the big guys, and I know a lot of the big riders have discounted him, mainly because of the way he, his family, and the people around him have talked about, oh, Chad Reed is down on the course, so that's one of those uphill jumps, and oh, wait!
Oh! Chad Reed gets drilled.
Hamblin just needs him.
And he just gotten the four-stroke started. It's just in a blind corner. There's nothing either one of them could do.
It looked like the flagger was back behind the knoll of the hill. You can see it looks like Hamblin and Reed both kind of jumping around, and Reed knows he needs the points, but trying to pick up the bike, and now we got some people helping out there. Scary situation, riders running into each other like that.
He's got nowhere to go, and Chad just had to bail out.
There's clearly a yellow flag waving. Whether, you know, you got to remember the pitch that Sean Hamblin is coming up right there. It makes it tough to see, and now we're back to Alessi.
This is the battle for fourth because Reed has dropped out. He's on the side of the track. We're going to report on him momentarily, but Mike Alessi, by virtue of that, moves up to fourth place, and David Vuillemin. So they'll go to work, and Vuillemin gets the inside line. Alessi's going to try to hang it out on the outside as they make this right-hand sweeper.
And Alessi trying to carry the speed, but he ends up coming right into the line where David is. And Mike Alessi's not going to pull anything over on David Vuillemin. I mean, he is a veteran. He's been around, and he knows where the lines are and how to take them, regardless of speed, which, again, David Vuillemin is one of the fastest riders in the world, and he's proven it right now that, you know, Mike Alessi's fast, but he's still quicker.
Do you think it would have been better, and we'll talk about this after we take a break, whether Mike Alessi should have gone to 125 first or 250? That is subject for debate, but what we do know is Ricky Carmichael is your leader, followed by Windham and Tortelli. Back to Millville in a moment. Welcome back to Millville, Minnesota. Moments ago, Chad Reed taken down by an unsuspecting Sean Hamblin who came over a hill and didn't even see him. Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael now has got clear sailing. Unbelievable turn of events for Chad Reed. Let's send it down to the track, and Jamie Little who's standing by with Chad.
What happened up there? You were up and then all of a sudden you disappeared.
Just messed up, just hit a hole and hit me over the bars. It's a shame, you know, I couldn't get the bike started because the shifter, when Sean Hamblin come up over the jump and hit me, and otherwise I was fine, and I couldn't get the bike started without somebody helping me move the shifter, and you know, when you got outside distance, like, they're gonna black flag me anyway, so why waste my energy?
And the worst part was you're on a hill.
Yeah, I know, and Sean landed right on my leg, but lucky I had my new Tech 10s on, so I'm safe.
Your legs are good.
Yeah, my legs are fine.
Tough break. First DNF for Chad Reed.
Well, getting it in there for the Alpine Stars. Safety, a big factor here, but what he's talking about was outside assistance. If someone helps you while you're out on the track, you're going to be OUT of the race. So, unfortunate turn for Chad as we see Mike Alessi battling it out with a former world champion.
Sebastien Tortelli on the Suzuki gets around Alessi. Let's see who has the line as they come into this corner. Alessi on the inside, Tortelli showing the way through, and Alessi decides just to tuck in behind him. So Sebastien Tortelli currently in 5th. Mike Alessi now sits in 6th.
And again, I mean, the factory superstars of the 250 class, Mike Alessi, you see the whoop monster with the rattle can or the cowbells or whatever, and Alessi trying to shove it back inside of the veteran. I mean, Sebastien Tortelli is a guy who's coming back off injury. He doesn't want to fool around with anybody. He wants to move quickly through the pack, and it's kind of cool to see Mike Alessi challenging him.
Well, as we went to commercial, I asked you, should he have gone to 125 or made his debut like he is in the 250 class?
I personally believe he should have come out in the 125 class, but that's not for me to decide. That's up to him and, you know, his family and what they want to do. And, you know, they don't have a deal yet for next year is the one thing. People are talking about Factory Honda. People are talking about KTM. I'm sure he has a lot of options. Maybe just didn't want to show what he can do in the 125 class, plus or minus. I mean, it could have been bad if he couldn't beat the guys he grew up or racing in the same era with. You know, James Stewart was ahead of him, but guys like Josh Grant and Brock Hepler, you know, a lot of talk about him. He would have needed to beat those guys, but, you know, he wouldn't have been able to do it. It could have cost him. So maybe coming out in the 250 class is smart.
This is the battle for 4th place. Sebastien Tortelli, 103 in the Suzuki, gets around number 24 on the Honda. That is Ernesto Fonseca. Mike Alessi starting to drift backwards, and this is where I would say my concern would be with Mike Alessi. Yes, he is a dominating rider. Yes, he has all those titles in Loretta Lynn, but you put him with 40 young men, grown men, on a 250 bike, it might be a different story. Right now, let's check in one more time with Jamie.
Tony Tortelli's on a roll today, just passing guys one at a time.
Yeah, he's having a hard time. He fell there in that corner, and he's working his way back up. We were looking good. If we could have got Windham, we looked good for 2nd overall, but now we got to get Vuillemin and hopefully get on the box for 3rd.
Seems like he's holding his composure together well.
Yeah, he's very composed. The guy's solid as a rock. He's really good. I really enjoy working with him.
Glad to see number 103 out here doing so well.
So Ricky Carmichael continues to lead in typical Ricky Carmichael fashion, making it look easy. As he goes to the section one more time, Carmichael did not get the whole shot, Cameron, but in typical Ricky fashion, his persistence pays off and he keeps the bike upright.
He's just unstoppable. Where is there a mistake? I mean, we've seen him almost crash, and of course there's always going to be things happen with motocross. It's a two-wheel bike, it can fall over, but he's just been so good and so dominant in the sport. You know, many say the best ever to ride a dirt bike, and he's proving it once again as he stomps through this whole season undefeated. And at this point, how can you say anybody's going to beat him?
Yeah, absolutely no chinks in his armor. Meanwhile, Kevin Windham comes through. He's the guy that stopped the streak last year for Carmichael, and Windham losing a little bit of that pace this year, making some changes, and we wish Kevin Windham all the best. We hope he gets back to form. He's still riding fantastic. Don't take anything away from him, but Ricky Carmichael has just elevated the bar that much more.
It's just amazing where dirt bike riding and racing in general have gone. What they can do on the dirt bike, jumping 100-foot-plus jumps on the track, how fast they go through the whoops, the technology of the machines. A lot of things have changed in motocross over the last few years, and Ricky really has made the most of it, and his riding style just fits so well everywhere he rides a dirt bike.
Meanwhile, Kevin Windham had a a decent season on the Supercross Tour this year. He was there. He was battling with Chad Reed all the way, and it really came down to the last few weeks, and he was unable to close the gap. Meanwhile, this is the battle for third place. David Vuillemin, who has had a great weekend here at Millville.
Actually, the battle for French bragging rights, as it may be, Vuillemin and Tortelli, guys that actually grew up racing against each other in France, or close in age, and this is more than just out here in the Nationals. And David's sitting down on the inside, and looks like he lost a little bit of track there, and maybe Tortelli's going to get a bit of a run here on the whoop.
Sebastien Tortelli moves into third place, so he will take the pride of France with him and get the bragging rights, at least for this lap. Vuillemin drops back to fourth.
And I think the one difference between these two riders right now is that David is fast and he goes fast and he has the energy to do it, but Sebastien just, I think maybe for being out of riding for so long, and it's also part of his upbringing and the style of racing, he is just constantly on the attack, and it really shows.
Meanwhile, back in front, it's Ricky Carmichael continuing to dominate. Remember, it's a 30-minute plus 2 laps, and Carmichael is coming close to wrapping this thing up. No one even near him. He's putting out James Stewart-type gap. Stewart putting up 1-minute gap in the 125 class, and Ricky's coming precariously close to doing the same as he works the bike there. Look at that thing get swirling. Carmichael on a tear at Millville. When we come back, we'll wrap up Moto number 2. It's Carmichael, Windham, and Tortelli, your top 3. We are back at Millville. That is Spring Creek, and that is Mike Alessi, number 800, making his pro debut in the 250 class. And Cameron, he is...
the bike's locked up. Did you see the wheel? It looked like it was locked up there. Now he's
going the wrong way.
Backwards on the track, back down the hill, and hopefully he can see that there's no traffic there. Heartbreaking. He's running inside the top 10. We talked about his skill level, what he could do, and he was proving that he had the speed, and unfortunately it looks like a bike problem is going to take him out of it.
We'll find out what's going on with Mike Alessi. Meanwhile, the white flag is out for Ricky Carmichael. One more lap, and this is going to all be but a parade lap for Carmichael. And Cameron, I cannot remember the last time Ricky Carmichael had any kind of mechanical. He comes to this track in every race so prepared, so focused. He leaves nothing to chance, and Carmichael has done it again. The streak is alive unless something major happens, but I won't jinx him. For more on the jinx of Mike Alessi, let's check in with Jamie.
Mike Alessi running at least up in 6th there. What happened?
I don't know. I revved it too much in the air and blew it up.
Tough break. Were you having a little bit of fun out there, getting to loosen up a little bit?
Yeah, loosening up a lot. Just the bike. You know.
Well, Carmichael's bike continues to run flawlessly, and Carmichael is your leader. This is the white flag lap, and I'm sure, Cameron, before things are all said and done, we'll hear much more from Mike Alessi in his career.
That's absolutely for certain. We've seen his skill and his speed here today, running in the top 10 before a bike problem took him out, and obviously not able yet to run with the very big dogs, but I'm sure in the near future things will start to pan out for the young superstar.
Well, talking about big dogs, he is the biggest dog on the block right now in motocross. Ricky Carmichael has kept the streak alive. 9 overalls in a row. And despite the knee injury that took him out last year, Cameron, there is no chink in this young man's armor. I don't see any reason why he cannot streak through the rest of the season. Remember, we have 3 more stops to go. And it looks like Carmichael is going to wrap things up and pick up yet another title. And before he exits Honda, he'll add 1 more trophy to their case.
I wonder if the guys at Honda are maybe second-guessing that, letting Ricky go to Suzuki for next year.
I know one person that's happy about it. Roger DeCoster is grinning from ear to ear.
For certain.
And he's got this parade lap because he put in such strong laps to go. He had a nice battle going with Chad Reed. Chad had that horrific accident with Sean Hamblin and had some outside assistance. But Carmichael just airing it out, and that'll cause a few fans to say, holy Schmidt. Carmichael bringing it through, an impressive performance once again. Your winner at Millville, number 4, Ricky Carmichael. And I think Ricky Carmichael may be sending his own message. A lot of the attention was on the emergence of Mike Alessi? Well, it's Ricky Carmichael who comes out and throws the gauntlet down. Your Suzuki results look like this. Carmichael, Windham, Tortelli, Vuillemin, Fonseca, Rodriguez, Byrne, and Way, your top 8.
Ricky Carmichael going 18 for 18, continuing this perfect dream season. And I know you were just telling me how rough it was out there.
It is so rough today. I think this is the roughest it's ever been. And, you know, the second moto, I think there was a lot of things happening because I think the guys were trying to ride too hard maybe for the conditions. And I just tried to get out there and ride right to the limit. And I got lucky. I had some near scares out there for sure, and feet hanging off and everything. But it wouldn't be like me if I didn't do that at least once a moto.
So the overall result looks like this. Carmichael goes 1-1. Windham gets on the podium with a 5-2, and Sebastien Tortelli will join them on the podium. Jamie standing by with Kevin Windham.
When did you realize Chad was down?
Well, I heard the crowd go nuts, so I figured something happened in front of me. I didn't know who it was, and actually I was coming over like that little hill on the way up the uphill to do the triple, and he was laying right there in the track. I almost hit him, so fortunate to get around him and you know, get Honda 1-2. It was a good day.
Great job.
Thank you.
After 9 rounds, it looks like this. Carmichael with a perfect 450 points. Then it's Chad Reed, Kevin Windham, David Vuillemin, and Michael Byrne, the top 5. One more time, let's send it down to Jamie Little.
Sebastien Tortelli taking his second podium in 5 races, and who do you have with you?
Yeah, my little boy out here. You know, it's been great out there, and you know, riding it. The track was rough, but it was good, and you know, it's always nice to have some family support, and that's his birthday today, so you know, I'm glad to be on the podium, and happy in the future we'll recognize the presence.
So that'll do it from Millville. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. On behalf of Jamie Little, Cameron Steele, and the Whoop Monster, I'm Todd Harris saying so long. The king still reigns, Ricky Carmichael.